guys, my name is Michelle Hurn, and I'm a registered and licensed dietitian, and I want to welcome you to the Low Carb Lifestyle and Practitioner Series. So before we get started, just in case you haven't already, don't forget to download the Lifestyle Quick Start Guide. It's got great snack ideas, recipes. Also, make sure you sign up for a weekly email. Also, make sure you ask me questions. You can click this link and you can submit some questions to be answered here on these videos. So you guys, do you know that 88% of our population in the States is metabolically unhealthy? Meaning that most people, it's either pre-diabetes or diabetes, but some have some type of metabolic dysfunction. That's pretty intense. So we're going to get into that today. We're going to get into talking a little bit more about meals. You know, what meals are good for metabolic health, specifically some low carb meal ideas. And, you know, before we jump into that though, I want to address a question that I got. So thank you guys for submitting your questions. So a question that I got asked about kind of the grass-fed versus non-grass-fed beef and just, you know, free range versus non-free range eggs. They're saying like, is there a big difference? You know, if you can't afford to get grass-fed beef, if you can't afford to buy the free range eggs, is it still beneficial to buy just like the regular beef or the regular eggs? 100%, absolutely. It is a million times better to be eating just the quote unquote regular beef or eggs versus, you know, a lot of those carbohydrates or processed carbohydrates, things like cereals and bagels and all that stuff. You know, I'm a big fan of regenerative farming. You know, if you can support your local farmer, if you're able to, I think that's fantastic. But if not, you know, if that's not in, you know, if you're not able to do that financially or just logistically, getting just beef and eggs from Walmart or wherever you want to get it is absolutely fine. So you guys, what I want to talk about today is I really want to talk about just a few quick meal ideas because people ask me, you know, like we talked a little bit about this last week, but what do you want to have for breakfast, for lunch, for dinner? So I'm going to share some of the, some just basic ideas, things that I like to have and things that we have on our quick start guide. So you can download this once again, you guys, there's some really easy recipes that can help you get started. So for breakfast, you know, one majorly popular low carb thing to have for breakfast is eggs. You know, eggs with cheese, eggs with bacon, eggs with salsa. You know, if you're not someone who's a big egg fan, also pork belly or bacon is another really easy thing to do. Certainly, you can actually take some of those higher carb things that you've had and you can actually transform them into lower carb things. And what do I mean by that? So like I said in the last video, if you're used to cereals, you can actually try our SFuels low carb keto-free cereal. You can use that as kind of like a muesli. You can make it into granola. You can put it on top of yogurt. It's an excellent on-the-go breakfast. Also, things like pancakes. Some people love pancakes. Well, you can actually use things like almond flour. We can actually help you using the barcode here to transform your recipes. So if you're like, oh, I don't even know how to do that, you can click the barcode and we'll help you transform them into a low carb version, which I think is super cool. And finally, like I said in the last video, it's totally okay to have leftovers for breakfast. If you just want to have hamburger patties, pork, whatever you had last night, that is something that I often do at my house. Now let's talk about lunch and dinner. So lunch and dinner, I feel like are a little bit interchangeable. So how I like to structure what I have for those two meals is just to, you know, once again, we start with a protein, an animal-based protein. And on this recipe guide here, you can see there's a steak, there's one for salmon, there's one for chicken salad. You guys, it doesn't have to be complicated. These are very easy. I know some people can get a little overwhelmed like cooking protein, but once again, you know, we'll walk you through how to do this. It's very simple. So often I will just have ground beef or beef patties. You know, I might do salmon. Salmon's something you can very simply put in the oven. I also make sure I have a lot of fat. You know, I want to be adding butter. Ghee is another thing that I add. Ghee is just butter that's had the milk protein removed. Tallow, that's just fat from beef. You know, you can also add other animal fats like lard. Some people use like the bacon grease. Those are all things that are fine to add. So when it comes to vegetables, a lot of people say like, I don't know, how am I going to eat without my potatoes or my rice? You guys, there are some excellent alternatives to where it kind of feels like you're still eating that same thing, but you're not getting the carbohydrates. For example, there's cauliflower rice. It's basically just cauliflower that's kind of shaped like rice. And you can just easily steam that. And that makes it, you know, easily into a side that kind of looks like rice. And, you know, you can put some butter, some salt, some cheese, and it tastes excellent. A lot of people like to spiralize or chop up zucchini. You can have zucchini noodles. I think it's abbreviated. People call it zoodles, zucchini noodles. So that's another option. You know, often in my house, we'll just have a very large portion of protein and often just a small side of vegetables. You know, you might find after a while, you don't even feel like you really need anything that like looks carby or kind of feels carby. So those are other options. You guys, when it comes to drinks, you know, it's really easy to be drinking a lot of sugar and not even know it. You know, I saw meme that was talking about some of those fancy coffee shops that add a lot of, mochas and sugars. It's like putting a piece of birthday cake into a drink. We don't want to be doing that. So we have some great recipes where you can actually take, a whey protein powder and make it into like a mocha. So you're getting protein and caffeine, which is awesome. Obviously coffees and teas, you can be adding heavy cream. We have our Prime, which is an excellent source of, caffeine, sugar-free you can have in the mornings. There's a lot of fun different things you can do to make that taste amazing. Also, we want to make sure you're staying hydrated. That's another really important thing to be doing when you're on a low carbohydrate diet, is making sure you're getting plenty of fluids and also getting plenty of electrolytes. Now, recall electrolytes are just sodium, potassium, magnesium, calcium. And those are things you can get in SFuels Train. And there's a lot of different, ketogenic electrolytes you can also find on the internet. So just to review, when you're planning your low carb meals, they do not have to be complicated. Probably one of the best things about eating low carbohydrate is it's very simple. It's easy to cook, and it also tastes fantastic. You want to be prioritizing high fat meats. We don't get anything lean in my house. Lots of the high fat beefs, ground beef with the extra fat. You're adding lots of salt. You want to make sure you add plenty of salt. And, you're having either a small portion of vegetables. And then if you want to, you can certainly do some of those fun things like cauliflower rice or zoodles, or, even chop up other vegetables to make them look kind of fancy. So those are a few fun things you can do. So you guys, I really appreciate everybody taking the time to listen to this video. In the future videos, we're going to talk about all kinds of different things of what a low carbohydrate diet can do for you. We're going to address things like diabetes and mental health and, sarcopenia, which is muscle wasting, and how important it is to make sure you're getting adequate protein from muscle. So once again, please make sure you like this video, you subscribe, also sign up so you can get our weekly email. Please ask me questions. I'm happy to do a few additional questions at the beginning of these videos. And if we start getting a ton of questions, I can even do short videos where I just answer your questions, or I'll just, I can respond to you guys personally. So my name is Michelle Hurn. I'm a registered and licensed dietitian. And thank you again for joining me here at the Low Carb Lifestyle Practitioner.